In this video we're going to take a look at the new nonlinear animation mixer in Character Studio 4. We'd also like to thank Oniria Pictures for the use of the Tristan character from their feature film Tristan et Isolde. Nonlinear animation is simply the ability to take separate motion clips and blend them together into one finished motion for your character. To give you an idea of this, let's just take a look at the mixer. The mixer interface looks a lot like a nonlinear editing system, except instead of video clips we're actually representing motion with these clips. So for instance, the walk start is actually a biped file that was motion captured. We have a walk file, a walk stop, and a loiter. We can use both motion capture animation as well as hand keyed animation in the same system. Once the motion clips have been laid on the timeline, you'll see that transitions are created between the different clips to create our one continuous motion. Now this is really where Character Studio takes the lead over other nonlinear animation systems. Other systems will actually just blend two curves together to create the finished curve. Character Studio actually adds intelligence to this process. Each one of these transition clips can be edited and actually have the focus adjusted so that it knows to try and transition only when the left foot is on the ground, or the right foot is on the ground, or both feet are on the ground. This gives you a benefit in that the actual feet don't slide around on the ground after the transition is created. In addition to the ability to transition between the clips, we also have all the standard capabilities of a nonlinear editor, such as the ability to actually scale and cut the different clips into new pieces. On top of that, we can also go in and add extra layers of motion on top of what you see here. So for instance, I have another layer up on the top which has a sneezing motion and a waving motion. If I take the mute off so it's now being used, we can hit play and you can actually see he sneezes, walks forward, waves, and then continues on with the rest of his motion. Now the way this is blended is actually through a filter. Everything on this particular track is being filtered through this interface right here. What you're actually seeing is I've turned off the inheritance of the motion for the feet, the pelvis, and the center of mass. So now only the stuff for the arms, the spine, and the head is actually coming through from the wave onto the finished character. So for instance, if I wanted the sneeze to not affect the left arm, I'd simply say so, hit play, and now you see his sneeze only uses one arm. Another powerful new feature of Character Studio 4's Motion Mixer is the ability to add time warps to any clips. So for instance, with this sneeze motion, if I hit play, you can actually see the pacing of the sneeze. I want to slow it down in some spots just to add a little more drama. So what I can do is simply go in, add a time warp. On that time warp, throw in a couple keyframes, go in, grab the keys and separate them, and now if I hit play, you can actually see there's a pause in the sneeze before it finishes. This is because I've stretched out time in the middle of the clip. The beauty of this is now I can adjust the speed of any part of any animation without actually having to touch the keyframes that are inside of it. If you're dealing with things like mocap of martial arts, you'll have to recognize the benefit of this for doing things like slowing down kicks, speeding up punches, the typical type of stuff you have to do to mocap to make it match your scene. The last feature of the Motion Mixer I want to show you is probably the most forgotten and most powerful tool in nonlinear animation. This is the concept of balance. If I open up one last track and we shuttle over to it, you can see this track causes wild swings in the arms. Well, this is a lot of mass moving around, and this should cause the pelvis and the legs to react to that. And you're seeing that it is not. This is typical of the type of motion you would get out of other nonlinear animation systems. With Character Studio, however, we have the concept of balance. All I have to do is go down to my balance track and simply turn it on and adjust the amount of balance I want to use. So for instance, let's just take it to full balance at the time of this clip, and now you can actually see as I shuttle back and forth, I get a real balance in this character. The hips and the legs are now adjusting for what the upper body is doing and giving me a much more realistic motion. In the end, the point to nonlinear animation is to allow you to build up more complex motions without having to go in and actually hand tweak all the keyframes. This is an area where other nonlinear animation systems fail because they do force you to go in and add keys to lock down the feet, to adjust the balance of the character to make up for the different mixes of motions. And this is all stuff that Character Studio will automatically do for you in its Motion Mixer. You no longer have to go back and fix these things as they will happen automatically. And this is the power of a system that actually understands characters and has intelligence.